Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome around the globe to Kangen Water Radio, featuring the Kangen Water Health and Information International Call, where we consider, clarify, and often correct the conventional wisdom around Kangen water technology, the different machines, the science behind the water types, uses, and benefits, the testing process, the maintenance and cleaning of the machine, and much, much more. We also explore a plethora of other topics as we teach, promote, and discuss the three-pronged approach to health and wellness: hydration, detoxification, and complete macro and micronutrition. I'm family physician, Dr. Lisa Battle Singletary, your virtual keto coach, and I will be joined by my co-host and fearless leader, Mr. Terrence Hope, a Magic 6A distributor extraordinaire, and together we bring you the best of both worlds. This is call number, I can't believe it, 397. It is Wednesday, June 9th, and we're almost halfway through 2021. It's blowing my mind. It's boggling my mind. But I'm so glad we're here, and I'm so glad you are here. So today's topic is my aching joints. What can I do? And we're going to talk about joint health today. And I'm going to take the lead, and Mr. Hope will come in a little bit later. Let's see. I think I've done all of the particulars I need to do. So we will go ahead and get started. So joint health. Now, this is a personal struggle, particularly my knees. So, and they really are, there are many different types of joints. There are actually 6 different types of joints. And some of our joints move, some of our joints don't. A joint just means where 2 bones meet. Now, sometimes they meet and they're not supposed to move. That's like the bones in your skull, for instance. But they don't hurt so much because they're not moving. But the joints that move, they have a different design. They have a different lifespan. So we're going to take a look at these joints and what we can do about them, how we can keep them healthy and lubricated, etc. So let's start with just a picture. I think I could do that, of a knee joint. Okay, so there are 3 main parts of the joint. One, the bones, right? And like we said, the joint is where 2 bones meet. But when the joints are supposed to move together or move against each other in order to give you motion with the action of your muscles, they have something called cartilage. And you know what cartilage is. It's the gristle. If you've ever eaten a fried chicken leg and at the end of the bone, there's this gristle, that's cartilage. Now, there are different types of cartilage in the body, but this is a picture of, just a stylized picture of what can happen when the cartilage starts to break down. There can just be cracks in it. There could be pieces chipped out. And here's the other part of the joint that maybe we think about, maybe we don't, but in between these 2 cartilage areas, so both bones have cartilage, is a little teeny bit of fluid. And that fluid is so important because that decreases the friction when the joints move, when the bones move. So now, I also want to say that this is a picture of something called osteoarthritis, which is a degenerative joint disease. And as we can see, excuse me, there's wear and tear on the joint, as opposed to rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease. I say it like this because we know that many autoimmune diseases are a result of leaky gut and other inflammatory or I'm not sure if Reggie was trying to tell me something, but leaky gut or other immune triggering events. So that's what a typical joint looks like. So when we talk about keeping our joints healthy, number one, three-pronged approach. Hydration is so important to keeping our joint fluid in the right volume. You only need a little bit, but if you're dehydrated, very often you'll find your joints start to ache because you don't have enough, they call that synovial fluid that is cushioning and decreasing the friction between those cartilage cushions. So hydration, number one. Now, detoxification, we talk about the three-pronged approach. And detoxification is very, very, very important for your joints because this is an interesting fact that shocked me actually. Cartilage does not have a blood supply. Who knew? So all of the cells that are in the cartilage, and there are cells, they're called chondrocytes. They have to live, they have to get nourishment, whatever. They get it from the joint fluid just by osmosis or diffusion or more diffusion. So it's very important that your joint fluid gets turned over, meaning new fluid has to come in, the old fluid has to go out, because that's the only way the joint cell, the cartilage cells get their nutrition, the chondrocytes. So I have a few articles and I'm going to keep it kind of brief. I'm going to try. I do get excited about this stuff, but one of the articles that I want to bring you, and are they all from Health? They're all from Healthline today. I did go to PubMed.gov and stuff like that, but I just like the way Healthline puts stuff. So the first article is just about cartilage. So let me go back and make sure I'm sharing the right thing. There we go. So hopefully you can see my screen, understanding cartilage, joints, and the aging process. So we talked about the structure of joints, the natural process of aging. You know, I think with the three-pronged approach, we can have, and eating, I mean, really cleaning up our eating, that's part of the third prong, but we do so much damage with the toxic things we put in our bodies. We don't have to age like everybody ages, okay? But this is a good overall article for just an introduction to joints, but this is definitely from a medical point of view because they're talking about things like injections and medications and surgeries and stuff like that. So they do talk about some things that you can do as far as they call lifestyle adjustments, exercise. Huge. Why? Because when you're moving, when you're walking, you're moving that joint fluid around and doing that exchange. Heat and cold therapy, braces, splints, rest, weight loss. Okay, all good. We'll skip the surgery part. All right, so the two articles that I wanted to maybe you get your pens and paper out for, one is called the top 6, well, let's go over here. The joint supplements, 9 supplements for pain. And it's interesting because there's some things on here that I think are missing. And one of the main supplements that I think is missing would be in another article, collagen versus gelatin. And really, the last article is the top 6 benefits of taking collagen supplements, all on healthline.com. And I will put them all in the description box of the YouTube replay for this video, so you don't have to scrounge around to find the goodness. So let's look at these 9 supplements for joint pain. Number 1, ding, 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 turmeric. Need I say more? You can never say enough about turmeric, but for joint health, it is amazing. Okay. Because it is among many, many, many things that curcumin does, which is the most studied component of the turmeric root, is anti-inflammatory. And inflammation, as we know, is the underlying process of, I always say 90+% of chronic diseases. And arthritis is definitely a chronic disease. Number 2, fish oil. Now, fish oil, I don't know why they put it on this list, but for this reason, it doesn't seem to reduce osteoarthritis, but this is why they put it on the list, because it can ease symptoms of patients with rheumatoid arthritis. And why it helps one and the other, and not the other, I don't know, because fish oil is anti-inflammatory. And there are people, absolutely, that add omega-3 fatty acids to their regimen and find out that their joints improve. So anything that can decrease the inflammation is going to benefit. Number 3, glucosamine. Okay, what is glucosamine? Well, let's break down the word. Gluco is a sugar, and amine is, it's like an amino acid. It's a building block of protein. So it's a part of collagen, but it's really something that's, it's part of the collagen structure. Sorry, I get them mixed up. This is why I said all the C's. Is part of cartilage. Right, it's one of the building blocks of cartilage, but it also, when you look at the injections that they do, one of the injections that they'll put in the joint space is glucosamine, because that sugar tends to attract fluid. So it helps to increase that little bit of cushioning of fluid between the cartilage and the joints. But again, why they have this building block, glucosamine, of cartilage and not collagen, I don't know. So we don't just stick with one. That's why we do multiple articles and we look at multiple things. Chondroitin is another building block of cartilage, and you'll often find that glucosamine and chondroitin are together in supplements. SAMe, again, this is I'm looking for the word, there it is, anti-inflammatory. And they have done some studies that show it as anti-inflammatory as prescription drugs. But again, we're trying to work with the body, and this is a natural substance. Your liver produces this from methionine. So it's a natural way of boosting your body's joint health. Do I feel a disclaimer coming on? Yes. Disclaimer, 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 disclaimer. We do not make health claims. We do not prevent, diagnose, treat, or cure any diseases. We help the body, we give the body what it needs we give it the building blocks, we take away the toxins so that the body can do what the body is naturally designed to do, maybe supernaturally, right? Okay, Boswellia, they call it Indian frankincense. It is, again, anti-inflammatory. Avocado, soybean unsaponifiables. I'd never heard of those until I read this article, but it may help prevent the breakdown of cartilage. It may help repair cartilage. Emphasis on the may, right? Clinical studies show they improve pain symptoms more than placebo. Maybe we need more studies, but keep your ear to the ground. You might hear about avocado soybean unsaponifiables. Now, why could this possibly work? Well, avocado is a good source of healthy fats, right? And again, anti-inflammatory. But we know that soybean is on the bad food list because of the GMOs. Genetically, 90+% of soybeans in this country, at least, I don't know the world, are genetically modified. So I'm not mad that I didn't know about ASUs before today. Devil's Claw, another compound, has anti-inflammatory effects. I think you see the theme here. And then rounding out the 9 with MSM, methylsulfonamine, again, anti-inflammatory. Now, MSM, I am very careful about when I suggest it as a supplement to people, because although it is anti-inflammatory, it really is a precursor. It's a cousin to aspirin, and some people do get burning in their stomachs when taking too much, and I think they usually take too much. But like I said, I'm careful about this one. But those are the 9. But let's take just a peek about collagen. Top 6 benefits of taking collagen, because collagen is, all right, you've got 4 different types of tissue in your body. You've got muscle tissue, you've got nervous tissue, you've got epithelial tissue, that's the lining, that's your skin and the linings of your blood vessels. Everything else is connective tissue. So one of the main components of connective tissue is collagen. It is the most abundant protein in the body. It's major component of most of your body. So collagen is a major component of skin, joints, ding, 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 could prevent bone loss. Again, we got to give it all the building blocks. And so that's why calcium was one of the C's when I talked about, cartilage, calcium, chondroitin, collagen, as far as bone health. And connective tissue was the 5th. I was trying to think of the 5th C, but it was connective tissue. Could boost muscle mass, promotes heart health, and multiple other benefits, including, let me highlight, gut health, because we've talked about the lining of the gut being improved with collagen. Okay, so lots of goodness there in healthline.com as far as things that can help our joints. But number 1, hydration and detoxification, and then now we're talking about not just macronutrition, because you do need your proteins and things like that, but you need the micronutrition too. So we're going to bring on Mr. Hope. And Mr. Hope, I'm so excited about this topic because so many people have joint issues, and it's a perfect situation where the three-pronged approach can be, I mean, all right, every situation is a situation where the three-pronged approach can help, but I just love talking about joint health. So, but I'm also excited because I have a surprise for you later. So, Mr. Hope, I'm going to keep you at the edge of your seat until later on the call. I've got one more article to show, and just to show you the title of. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have waited this far. I'm about to reward you for your patience by bringing to you the vigilant, persistent, consistent health advocate and health influencer to the stars and to the globe, Mr. Terrence Hope, an Magic 6A distributor extraordinaire. Are you with us, Mr. Hope?
God bless you, Dr. Singletary. And yes, I am. Today I'm here by audio only, but I'm glad to be here with the group and everyone, on the call. We are, of course, always blessed to have a physician, a medical doctor. Of course, as you let us know that you are now retired, but lending your time to letting us know more about the natural approach to health and using your medical background and knowledge to really inform us at a deeper level. It's a great opportunity. It's a great fortune because, you can't get that. I mean, the average physician doesn't know nutrition and doesn't know it to its proper depths, if at all. And so here we have the opportunity to get that in a very thorough manner with a physician, a doctor, talking to us about our health and how to apply proper nutrition, hydration, and detoxification. I imagine this will become some sort of documentary one day, or some sort of journal or book, because this is a wealth and treasure of information that's here and that you have made available for us all. So very glad to be and honored to be on the call with you, and that you have given your time in such a rare instance where your medical expertise is available for this kind of education that we need. So I thank you, Dr. Lisa Singletary. And listening to your talk today on joint health, it made me think about a few things. One of the things is that full nutrition is the factor that is so pivotal and vital to our body's health. Now, of course, as well, when we talk about the bones, it made me think about some things I've experienced. And maybe one day we'll have some guests on that can talk about their own testimonies. But I remember having a buddy of mine who had a need for a knee replacement surgery. And this is maybe about 6 years ago now, maybe going on 7 years. And I had just become aware and knowledgeable about full nutrition, making sure there's 90 nutrients in the body, minerals, amino acids, essential fatty acids, enzymes, probiotics. The body's a unit, and we often, have been trained to think about it in terms of sections and parts, and elements. There's a leg, there's a knee, there's a stomach, there's the pectorals, there's the, all these different things. But when there's a health issue, someone will say, well, okay, you've got this, disease, and we treat it, this way, and we're going to give you this perhaps prescription medication to target. Targeting may not be the thing that's really necessary. But we're going to target this area in such a way. If it is deemed that one has a nutritional deficiency of some sort, one will analyze the situation and recommend a supplement for that particular deficiency that is at least seen. So we say, okay, we see you're a little deficient in vitamin D. We're going to give you these vitamin D supplements. Yeah. But the body as a whole, it works together as a symphony. And different organs, while, there may be some chief nutrients involved that we are um, like almost obviously aware of. But there are other things that are going to go on to make that bone possible. So when we look at the knees, the bones, the ligaments, the cartilage, for your knee to be healthy, there's a series of nutrients that work together along with certain minerals, along with certain enzymes, in order for that regenerative and maintenance of its health to be sustained. And you talked about nutrients today, but so I'll add to that in that, we have to make sure we have a full complement of nutrition. We want the bones to be healthy. There's a lot that has to go on. And as you highlighted, talking about hydration. So here we are talking about proper hydration, because you need water for all the functions of the body. You mentioned that glucosamine is prefaced with glucose, and there's something about that sugar that attracts water to the cushioning of the cartilage. And so these things all work together to make the body whole. And we also have to make sure that we are expelling toxins from the organs, because that will very easily cause a dysfunction. So being thorough about the body's needs. That's why we always talk about the three-prong approach here: hydration, nutrition, and detoxification, because there are different elements. We also have to take a look at certain things like, bacteria that may creep into the body or into the bones, parasites, viruses, and many of these things have herbal remedies. Certain herbs will kill certain types of bacteria. Certain herbs will kill certain types of parasites. And I'll mention something along with that. Many people might reach for a pharmaceutical first when something's going on. Well, pharmaceutical comes from the planet Earth. One has to then synthesize different elements to create a certain effect. There are certain things that are in whole form and readily available. Something I will share with the group is that I bet you didn't know that the birds of the air, I think namely some of the, what is that bird called? The great American turkey vulture and some of the others, feed on something called wormwood. What's wormwood? Wormwood is, I think it comes from a tree branch or some sort of branches. And inside these branches, there's an herb that kill parasites. Well, what are birds of the air eating? They're eating raw foods, right? The rawest you can get. And when they feed their young as well, in the blood, it's opportunities for bacteria to be present, it's opportunities for parasites to be present. So what do? The birds of the air eat wormwood branch and feed it to their young. And what does wormwood branch do? Kills parasites. So how do they know to do that? I think somehow we're all designed to know what we need on this planet and to take in what is necessary for our health benefit. But that's their form of a prescription medication, right? So to keep in mind, there are certain things that can address issues. So if your arthritis is also dealing with parasites or bacteria, any kind of viral issue, certainly nutrition, detoxification, because easily toxic levels can build up in the body, cause pH imbalance, and certainly cause issues for the bones, and proper hydration. So all of these are imperative, and all of these are what we need to stay healthy. I'm actually going to stay relatively brief because I know there are going to be some pretty good questions coming across. Before I go into any other information about the Kangen water machines and so forth, Dr. Singletary, I'd like to see if you'd like to maybe take us into a Q&A, or if you had something else another article you wanted to show.
We stay in Q&A mode now that we're on Zoom because we've got the chat. So everyone can type questions in the chat, or as Juanita just did, they can raise their hands electronically, or as some people did on the call earlier, they could just do this and we'll see
Ooh,
that they have their hands raised.
me,
So
me, 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 me. Ooh.
that's right. So if you, let's see, I think I can bump you from sharing your screen. Oh, there you go. And I'm dying to hear what you think about this article, and it's totally on another topic, okay? But can I pull it up? How do I pull it up? Okay, so this was old news, but are you ready, Mr. Hope? I don't think you're ready for this. And again, like I said, it's another topic.
I'm ready.
You ready? Okay, here we go. This is in Chesapeake Bay Magazine. Let me minimize the faces. And only a true crab aficionado would understand the relevance of this picture. But rare male / female crab finds home at Lower Eastern Shore Museum. This is a crab hermaphrodite. And, you know, on one half of the apron, there's a male shape, the Washington Monument, you know, they say, and on the other half, it's a female shape. And for some reason, the crabber that caught this realized that this was a rare find. You know, they have to measure the crabs that they catch and stuff. And so he saw this, and now it's in a museum. But what say you about that, Mr. Hope?
Wow. Are we saying that that was an hermaphrodite?
A hermaphrodite crab.
Crab. See, you be up here triggering me. If you want to get something started, we can set it off. You know, because
Go on with your bad self.
Because of what that's talking about is chemical contamination that alters the hormonal development of various species.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're getting to right there, Dr. Singletary, you know me too well. To set up the lob, you know, is the dysfunction that's occurring because of the chemicals that are present throughout the waterways. They also get into our water systems and our homes. And let me see now. I had you made me go and trigger all kind of stuff here. You know, they get into our waterways and they create problems. And so there's a documentary that I recommend everyone take their time to go take a look at when they have the opportunity. This documentary came out of Health Canada.
Mr. Hope, don't play that, please, because I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. What do you call it? Edit this video. Edit it out of this video. But
it was for public use. It came out of the government of Canada.
Okay, I'm bumping you because if you we talked about this recently on call number 391.
Go ahead.
And the topic of that was phthalates are forever.
Let's go there then.
And this document right here is the articles and resources from the call, and that is available to you, everybody, you, all of you, when you go to YouTube, to Kangen Water Radio, to our channel, and you click on number 391, you go into the description box. And in the description box, you'll find all of this information. These are all the articles we used about phthalates. And right here, can you see what I'm circling now? There's a link to this documentary that Mr. Hope is talking about called The Disappearing Male.
Mm,
Okay, so you can see the whole document just by going to call number 391 on Kangen Water Radio on YouTube.
absolutely. And there are things people need to know. I mean, the more we think about the fact that chemicals are altering our bodies in various ways to the point of hormonal, the more we have to be aware of the importance of filtration. And it's not just water being polluted. Now we've got water being chemically polluted, and that those chemicals can cause alteration. So the documentary, just in summary, if I can, talked about chemicals that can disturb the development of the fetus, and that's in various species across the board. And it can block the hormonal development, so that when the fetus comes to be fully formed and ready to be, born, um, there are certain things that will not be in place. There'll be, what do you call those? You can call it birth defects. And in this case, Dr. Singletary highlighted a crab in the Chesapeake Bay that had both male and female organs. And that has been found in alligators. It's been found in bears. It's been found in different species around the world. And the documentary that we're highlighting here, called The Disappearing Male, talks about its effect on the animals and specifically as well on humans. So you have human children being born with maybe not the visible signs of hormonal dysfunction, but internally, the glandular structures that are supposed to develop, that are responsible for the characteristics of the gender, have been inhibited in some way, altered in some way, damaged in some way. So when the child is born, particularly when you look at males, you may see a male who on the outside looks fully formed, but his glandular structure is defective. And those glands are responsible for the characteristics that go hand in hand with the gender of the individual. So he may appear to be male on the outside, but the alteration to his glandular structure has dismissed the characteristics that would go along with that. So he will default to female. And some people think that, and this is a controversial subject. I remember famous doctor commented on this one time, and he got all kind of backlash. But one might think that the individuals that are born with gender identity issues is a natural birth, but in fact, it's not. You've got hormonal imbalances and hormonal defects, and the same with the females. It can happen in the reverse, as well. There are some women that are being born as hermaphrodites, so they're female and male at the same time. And at the moment of birth, decisions are being made as to, well, which organ to keep. And oftentimes they're removing the genitalia, that's easiest to remove, and defaulting to female, but hormonal structure may actually be male. Now these are things that should not happen, but what happens when we poison our waters, when we use every kind of chemical for whatever purpose, and we don't kind of backtrack that to see, well, how will that affect humans? Because it's going to go in our water supply, we're going to end up drinking it, what is it going to do to us? So you have, whole populations. Now, one can say, well, that's a modern day issue of chemical contamination. And we've seen these sort of things, for millennia. So how do you explain that? Well, you could easily take a look at certain things like nutritional deficiencies. When the fetus is developing in that region of the world, are all the nutrients present for the mother to ingest so that she can feed the child? But we have to remember, as I said in that documentary, The Disappearing Male, we're building a baby. And you have to have all the bricks and building blocks for that purpose. And if there are things that are missing, the baby cannot fully develop. You see, they noticed there was a rash of this type of thing, I think after World War I or after World War II, with so many women were having birthing children that had, hormonal defects. And women say, well, why is that? Well, it could very well be in the middle of a ravaging war. You've got reduced resources, less nutrition is available. You might have a lot more chemical toxicity. Bombs are being dropped and people are breathing that in. How does that affect the developing fetus? You could have nutritional deficiency, chemical contamination, and then of course stress. What effect do bombs dropping all around have on women who are pregnant, and developing a baby? Is that stress getting to the developing fetus? I'm sure very easily.
Yeah.
So we have to also take a look at these environmental factors that cause these problems.
This is another area, I think, Mr. Hope, where, and you've said this, that the science, the research that's available does not make it to the bedside, because we can pinpoint the very week and even down to days when a developing fetus develops their supraorbital nucleus, and which is where gender issues are determined, and where these when these hormonal patterns start to be, let me bring Dale in, where the hormones start to be produced that will change generic / female fetus into a male fetus.
I think it's the 7th week of fetal development.
8th in my mind, but like, around there. It's definitely in the area of time before many women know they're pregnant. And so they're still smoking, drinking, partying, doing whatever. They don't even know. And then, by the time they realize, oh, I'm not just hungry all the time, I'm pregnant. The time has already passed for that stage of development. So yeah, but we can't have that discussion logically or factually in this climate. So yeah, excellent point. So what I will do is I will start putting that video, that one and the video by Dr. Vikas Sukhatme. I'll put it on every video as far as the call resources. So that the information will be readily available to anyone who goes into the description of the individual YouTubes when they watch Kangen Water Radio replays. Okay, Juanita. Welcome to the call, my dear. You look like you have a doctor bag in your lap. What is that? Uh-oh, can't hear you.
Oh, she has to unmute herself.
Yep.
That magic button. Uh-oh, she's still muted.
I have asked. You keep jumping around though. No, you should be unmuted now. No.
She might not have a microphone properly set up. That's possible.
Just write notes and put them up to the camera.
Smoke signals.
Yeah. But no, we can't hear you yet. But it says you're unmuted.
It certainly does. Well, until she can get that together. Okay.
Here, I will ask again. Oh, that's Adrian. Sorry, Adrian. I tried again. There you go. Well, it looks like it says you're unmuted.
Yeah, it sounds like her microphone might not be properly set up on her side. So we'll leave you unmuted, Juanita, until you figure it out. We might move on for a moment.
So I will click this button.
My mom. I'll call you back. Look. All right. Bye-bye.
That's Adrian.
Yeah, so I clicked the button that says allow participants to unmute themselves. So we will remove her pin. I'm going to ask you again to unmute, Juanita, but as far as my comments, there was one comment I did forget to make, and that was Mr. Hope. And Juanita's calling me. I can't answer you right now, Juanita. When Mr. Hope starts talking, I will. I'll try to connect with you. Okay. There's another building block of cartilage that is really starting to show up in popular discourse, and that's hyaluronic acid. And of cartilage, of connective tissue. And that was another one that I was surprised it was not on the list. So when we looked at the joint supplements or the components of possible joint supplements, the components were either cartilage building blocks or anti-inflammatories. The third thing is stem cell stimulators. And, that's, some people are like, whatever. But there are natural things that stimulate stem cells. We wouldn't be able to heal if we didn't have stem cells. Our skin would not be able to heal. Nothing would be able to heal if we didn't have stem cells, because those are the cells that hold the blueprints of what every structure is supposed to be. I loved, Mr. Hope, how you described the human body as a symphony. And, we have this, we now, medical, industrial, complex drones have a reductionistic idea or concept of health as opposed to a holistic concept. So for instance, in an orange, right, there's vitamin C, right? But there's so much, there are hundreds of thousands of other compounds that go along with the vitamin C. We get so many of our drugs from plants, and they take the plant and then they figure out, okay, is it this component or this component or this component or this component or this component? Well, there's a reason it was all in the plant, and it's all supposed to work together, but and that's a more holistic idea as opposed to the reductionist idea was like, well, there's one little compound in there that's really going to do the job, and we can patent it and make money, right? So, and I had to be educated. I used to think, what's the difference if vitamin B12 comes from a chemical lab versus a natural source, but if you want a cake to be sweet, Valerie, you don't just eat sugar, right? You need all the ingredients for the cake to work.
Right.
And that's what I love about the supplements that we do have experience with and recommend, because it's not a reductionistic formula. It's, it's got all the things.
Mhm.
So, and in the ratios that they're supposed to be in
Right.
because it's natural.
You know what, Dr. Singh,
Yes.
you just made me think of something. So we might take an element out of a particular plant that we figure is the active ingredient that's going to help the person to be healed. Um, but like you're saying, it may have been in that plant for a reason, so that there's once again a combination of things going on together that allow it to work once you ingest it. Now watch this. Now let's take that prescription medication. So
Ultron
stand by.
1760.
That prescription medication at the same time now has a plethora of other ingredients in it. It's almost as though you are synthesizing the plant that it came from using chemical
Oh,
elements.
oh, okay. So in my research, one
Yeah.
of the articles I did not bring today was about them trying to synthesize cartilage,
Mm.
right? They're figuring out the building blocks and adding in the secret sauces, the stem cells, and they're trying to artificially get now mice
Mm.
to rebuild cartilage. Well, um, I mean, again, disclaimer, but you give the body what it needs, it does amazing things. I'll just put it like that. And when um, you talked to, you didn't talk about fish oil, but I've seen lately a television commercial for a prescription fish oil. Now, they can't, quote unquote, uh, the pharmaceutical industry, can't monetize a natural substance like fish oil. But they have gone in and they have analyzed it and they have found a compound that is effective enough by itself. And now they're saying it's pure prescription strength, prescription grade, pharmaceutical grade. And they've gotten insurance companies now to pay for this particular substance. It's absolutely, it's very pretty. It's a clear capsule, a clear oil inside, but it's like, what about all the others? You need the omega-3s, the omega-6s, we get, but the omega-9, I mean, you need the whole spectrum. So just another example. But you're right, I did not know about birds and turkey, would you say turkey buzzards and wormwood? But that did remind me that one of the first papers of, I think, the same famous doctor that you referenced earlier was about a mass die-off of turkeys. So there was a turkey farm and they had over 50% of their turkeys just die. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. And he found out that it was a nutritional deficiency. They were feeding them something cheap and something that was not a natural dietary component of the turkey. And so, when they changed their feed, added in all the nutritional components that the turkey needed, the next year, the crop was fine. So one day they'll listen to us. What do you think, Mr. Hope? Oh, I think we lost him. Okay, Juanita, I'm gonna give you one more try. Okay, I believe you. I believe you say that the screen is, oh, I know what I can do. This is your big moment, Juanita. I just made you a co-host. Now, unmute yourself because there's nothing stopping you. So you see your co-host and you're unmuted. Hit participants. And right next to your name, you should see the word co-host. But we can't hear you. Okay, well, I'm sorry, Juanita, we couldn't get your, okay, I'm waiting. Okay, here we go.
Is this working?
It's working.
Praise the Lord. I am known to be very persistent and I don't give up too easily. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Hope, I have him on his phone.
Maybe that's why I hear an echo. I do hear an echo, but go ahead and talk.
Okay. I've got
Quickly.
writing in. But thank you so much for this topic. This morning I woke up listening to a teaching from my local fellowship here on the body of Christ. And I can't help but go to Corinthians. And when we read about the body, and the pastor from the church has 40 years nursing. So as he describes the working parts of our body, internally and externally, then related to the body of Christ. So now, an hour later, I'm on here with you talking about the human body in the different parts. I've got so many notes here, but I just want to go back to yesterday. I went to my chiropractic doctor, and we've decided that we are going to expand his business. And he's finally allowing me in my people.
I don't, something's happening with the echo. This isn't gonna, yeah.
Okay, what should we do?
Can you type in some more? If you have a question? Do you have a question or just comments?
I'll put myself on mute so you don't hear the echo. But the difference between, you said, a plant-based drug versus prescription medicine, would that be backwards? Wouldn't be a plant-based be medicine and pharmaceutical be a drug?
Hey, let me hang this up. You could say that, you know, I think that's semantics over substance. So medications, I mean, and you talk to different people, different thing. It depends on who you're talking to, what their context is. But I would not say that that's wrong. But medicine versus drugs, both of them, I associate both of them with prescription, both of those words with prescriptions. But I can understand another point of view that, you know, if you consider, it depends on how you define medicine. If you're defining medicine as a healing substance, there can be natural medicines, there can be, what's the word? Homeopathic. I guess they call them medicines. I don't know. Like I said, that's semantics to me. But drugs, I definitely associate with pharmaceuticals. But the substance is, what are we really talking about? What's really in them? So the approach, what's the approach? Is the approach naturopathic, or homeopathic or chiropractic or allopathic or orthopedic, or there are all these different branches of medicine that the current reigning allopaths do not recognize. So I don't know. That's a great thought discussion or a thought idea, but I would need more than just hearing those words, medicine or drug. That's not two different categories to me. There's overlap. So let me see, can you hear me? No. Let's see. I've asked you to unmute again. You are still a co-host and you can still, it's showing that you are unmuted. But we use natural holistic approach and we call them medicine, like, yeah. So what herb would one take for fever? Many things can, like anything that decreases inflammation should decrease a fever. But there is, what would you look up? I can't remember the term right now. But I would Google fever alternative. Just use those two words and you will be, or fever herbs, and you will be bombarded with good information. Okay. Well, it is the top of the hour and I think Mr. Hope got called away. So we will do a little housekeeping. So thank you for joining us for Kangen Water Radio. This was call number 397. So 3 more calls, we'll be at 400. I'm so excited. Okay, so I've mentioned the YouTube playlist, and I will be sending out the when we do all the downloading and uploading and all the things, this call will be uploaded to YouTube, to our YouTube playlist. I think this will be the 20th video in our YouTube playlist. And we still have our audio archives available to you. Yeah, that looks like my doctor bag. I see it. And are those my initials? Actually, my bag was a little bit smaller. The drug companies got cheap. The drug companies used to give them to us full of stuff, but just when my class was coming through, they started getting backlash, I guess. And then they said, well, we can't send you all on ski trips to Switzerland or give you fancy stuff. We'll just give you pens. And so I missed out on the good stuff. But let's see. When you do go to YouTube, and I hope you do, because we've got a lot of good stuff there, I add into the description box of the call. Do us a favor and like us, comment, give us hearts, give us love, contact us. How can you do that? Maybe I can show us. Let's see. Oh, share screen. There we go. Okay, so we will be here on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time at Kangen Water Radio Zoom, the Kangen Water Radio Zoom, which will also be shared on Facebook Live on Mr. Hope's, or on Kangen Water Radio's Facebook Live. You can contact us at kwnation7@gmail.com. That is our email address. And if I don't have your email address, if I'm not communicating with you by email, please give us your address at kwnation7@gmail.com. That's kwnation, the number 7@gmail.com. You can also ask for any of our resources there, but if you go into the replays, the resources are right there for you. So thank you so much for joining us today on my aching joints. What can I do? And we can explore the topic more, but I hope that this gave you some value today. All righty, so thank you, everyone. I'm so sorry I couldn't hear you, Juanita. We got to figure that out. But I recognized that doctor bag immediately when you put it on your lap. I was like, she had a doctor bag on her lap. I see 100 years old. Yeah, 100 years old. That's amazing. They don't make them like they used to, baby. So thank you all for joining us today, and we will see you on Saturday, same Kangen time, different Kangen station. Will be a Kangen Water Radio Zoom. All right. Mwah. Love you all.
Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. I saw you drinking your collagen, girl.
You made me do it.
Good job. Good job.
I mixed it with Rebound.
I hear you.
Whatever. I'm trying.
Love you all.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.